All right, guys, welcome back. And we are looking at key knowledge 4 of outcome 2 here. And this is what we call target market attributes. So here's the study design, and here is what we're looking at. So target market attributes such as market dimensions, segments, consumer trends, and behavior. Now, look, we're getting into some of the kind of more complexities of marketing here, some sort of real marketing speak and marketing think, for the first time, some of the sort of real nuts and bolts of what marketing is actually all about. So make sure you kind of pay attention and get a really good set of organized notes for this one. So what do we mean by this? What's this all about? Basically, most products are not going to appeal to everybody. And I've put none in brackets if you can think of any, but I can't think of anything out there that is going to appeal to absolutely everybody. So when you are coming up with your marketing plans, you're not generally going to be appealing to the whole market. In other words, everybody out there. Okay. So what you need to do is work out who your target market is. What does that look like for your business? So target market, who you are aiming to sell to. Now, going back to the study design, we have those 4 different elements to this, or attributes. So that's what this video is going to be kind of focused on, and breaking it down by looking at it this way. So market dimensions, segments, consumer trends, and then consumer behavior. So that's what we're going to focus on. Work our way through each of those 4 attributes. So first off, market dimensions. That basically refers to the size of a market for a particular good or service. Obviously, this is different for every single product, and it plays a really big role in dictating what type of marketing strategies, and we get onto that later in the outcome. So this will kind of feed through to marketing strategies that we're going to look at later that we use. So some key terms to note down straight off the bat. Mass market. Okay, mass market is when we're talking about the market for goods that are produced in really large quantities that appeal to a really wide range of people. And a niche market, a much smaller, more specialized market made up of a relatively small number of consumers. Okay, so 2 really key important terms, and those terms will crop up as we move through the entire outcome. So the thing here to understand is the market dimension for your product, because there's different marketing strategies that are going to be appropriate for marketing to mass markets than strategies for marketing to niche markets. So where does your product fit into this category? Are you going to be mass market, or are you more niche? That's what you need to understand. So look, just some examples of mass marketers: Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Colgate. They have a pretty broad appeal. And there's an example of a niche market product. Okay, a vegan face wash. Okay, much more niche. It's obviously going to appeal to a lot less people than McDonald's and those other businesses that we saw just before. Now, note that a niche market is very often just a kind of subset of a much larger market. So vegan face wash is a small niche in the face wash market in general, or even the broader cosmetics market, you could say. That's where our next step comes into play. So if your market is niche, then you don't need to worry about this part. But if you are targeting a mass market, or at least a substantial market, then what you need to think about is market segmentation. Okay, really, really important process to go through if your product could potentially appeal to a lot of different people. So market segmentation, there's a definition for you. What we're talking about here is dividing a market up into different groups of consumers, each of whom share a similar characteristics. Okay, can do this based on a number of different types of characteristics. 4 types of market segmentation that you see there. So first off, starting with demographic characteristics, things like what age the people are, what gender, nationality, occupation, income, so on and so forth. Then you could look at their behavioral characteristics. So how frequently they might make the purchase of this type of product. What reasons are they buying? Is it for convenience? Is it, is there a reason for buying going to be price? Is it going to be quality? Geographic characteristics, so city, state, country, rural versus urban. Climate can also play an important part in this. Even if you're selling right across Australia, obviously there's different climates, and that might play into your marketing in different parts of the country. And then psychographic characteristics, so social class, lifestyle, personality, what types of beliefs and values. So when you're segmenting a market, you're looking to kind of come up with groups of people that are all similar based on these types of characteristics. Then once you've done that, you come up with several target markets or market segments. Again, groups of people that share one or more similar characteristics. And that then allows you to come up with a range of marketing strategies designed to appeal to each group. So although you might have one product that you're selling, if it appeals to lots of different types of groups, you then come up with marketing strategies. And again, we talk about that later in the outcome, that appeal to different groups of people. So you might not necessarily come up with one marketing campaign designed to appeal to all of your customers. But if you come up with, say, 5 different market segments, you might come up with different marketing strategies which would appeal to each of them individually. So your market segment should include only groups of people who are likely to be receptive to your offering and therefore would potentially buy from you. That's kind of obvious. And there's a number of benefits of going through this process, okay? It allows you to focus your marketing spend where it's likely to be most effective. Like, you're not going to be wasting money trying to market to people that are patently not going to buy from you. Saving costs by not marketing to those groups that are not going to want to engage with you. And it also allows you to get a really, really good understanding of your target market, in other words, your customers. And that's a really, really big benefit in business. If you have the better the understanding that you have of your customers, the greater the ability you're going to have to appeal to their needs and their wants and satisfy their demands, basically. A little more terminology relevant here, some more definitions for you. Again, these can crop up throughout the rest of the outcome. Primary target market is the main or the largest target market that you've identified. That's probably going to lead to most of your revenue and where you're going to focus most of your marketing efforts. And then you might also have these secondary target markets, which are probably going to be smaller market segments, separate from your primary target market, but will still include enough customers in there to be profitable and therefore still worth targeting and coming up with marketing campaigns aimed at them. So, for example, Apple, their primary target market probably going to be high-earning professionals, both male and female, predominantly living in urban areas. But one of their secondary target markets could be students. For McDonald's, primary target market, and I'm kind of making this up. I haven't got this. Remember, this is kind of my best guess. I'm guessing it would be probably largely true, but it maybe not. But I'm guessing that McDonald's primary target market is families with young children, and then secondary target markets that they would focus on could be, for example, teenagers, professionals, maybe even baby boomers. The third thing on the list was to look at consumer trends. Now, businesses must always be aware of consumer trends, patterns of behavior, attitudes, and values of customers. Remember, Unit 1, Outcome 2, we looked at the external environment, and society's attitudes was one of the factors or the elements in that macro environment. This kind of comes back to that, really. So by being aware of changing trends, for example, the increasing demand for healthy products, we've looked at that previously. The increasing reliance on technology, we've looked at that previously. Over a period of time, businesses can change their marketing strategies to reflect those changes in trends that are happening out there. So, for example, when you go to the supermarket these days, there tends to be this organic section, which, I don't know how many years ago, but there was a point in time when you wouldn't have had this because it wasn't like a hot on trend thing. But these days, there's so many people out there looking for healthy organic food that they have, a big section devoted just for that. For a similar reason, I guess McDonald's now do their healthy options. The salads and the wraps and that sort of thing. Again, it's just McDonald's picking up on this trend that people want healthier options. So if they didn't offer this sort of stuff, then they're going to lose out on a large part of the market. that are looking for this and are not going to just buy, the traditional burgers and stuff that they've always sold. Fair trade in chocolate and also in coffee is an increasing thing as well. People are looking for businesses that source their ingredients through fair trade suppliers, so they know that, for example, employees are not exploited, and that the coffee beans, the cocoa beans, etc., are grown and harvested in an ecological and sustainable way. So you get to put the fair trade logo on your products. So there's another trend that businesses are responding to. And then the fourth one on our list was consumer behavior. So businesses want to know how customers are going to respond to their marketing strategies. So they need to have a really good understanding of consumer behavior. And there's a definition of consumer behavior for you. Basically, the actions of those that are buying your goods and services. Simple as that. Generally recognized by marketers that there are 5 factors that are going to influence or affect their behavior, as you see there. Psychological factors, what is actually motivating the person to buy a particular product or a service. Social factors, how people are influenced by the people that that they associate with. So your family, friends, your sports clubs, your community, church groups, that sort of things. There's a huge amount of influence that we get from the people, from our friends. You tend to find that often, our behaviors, our attitudes, our values are largely guided by those people that we associate with. And similarly, through cultural factors, through our parents and other environmental influences. So, what nationality we are, our ethnic background, religion, social grouping. So those two together, social and cultural factors, really, really important because they exert a really large influence on our behaviors in general and our values, but included in that is our consumer behavior. Personal factors, so what stage of life you're at. Are you single, you're married, you're a single parent, you're married with kids, retired, what occupation, lifestyle, your economic situation, your personality, all that sort of stuff. Again, all of that is going to influence your consumer behavior. And economic factors such as the level of income, how much you have in savings, how much credit you have available to you, all that sort of stuff. So you think in total, all of that sort of stuff, if you think about it, is really going to influence our purchasing decisions and how we behave as consumers in the market. So some examples of that in use. The supermarkets know that the majority of family food shopping is done towards the end of the week or on the weekend. So often they market so advertising specials earlier on in the week to increase trade in that part of the week, which is generally quieter. This one here, impulse buys at checkout. So when you go to the supermarket, as you get to the checkout, you'll see the chocolate bars and chewing gum and magazines and all that sort of stuff. A really, really huge marketing strategy for those types of products, which is why, the idea is the impulse buys. So you've done your weekly shop and you're waiting in the queue and, you'll see a chocolate bar or magazine and you weren't intending to buy that, but it's an impulse buy. And because it's right there, right in your face, you throw it on the runway and you include it in your shop. So really, really big marketing strategy for some businesses. Interestingly, this was partially stopped in the 90s by some major UK supermarkets. That kind of saw it as it was kind of a social responsibility response, really. Here's a story that I found. Tesco is one of the major supermarkets in the UK. So in 1994, they banned confectionery from the checkouts of their large stores. And the reason they did that was because kids, you're shopping with your kids and the kids sort of want to buy chocolate and it's really hard to say no to the kids, particularly if they start screaming and shouting. It's easier often just to buy them what they want. So the idea was it was kind of being socially responsible by not putting parents under that kind of pressure and getting people to buy unhealthy stuff as impulse buys. So that's an interesting development there. Summarising all of this in a nutshell. So rather than marketing to the whole market in one go, businesses are going to break down the market into segments, okay? Segments of customers with similar needs and wants. They then come up with marketing strategies, and this is what we get on to later in the outcome, which are going to appeal to those different segments. And they do this by going through various processes, which include analysing their market dimension, segmenting their market, and then considering consumer trends and behaviours. Okay, so that is all of this in a nutshell. And there we go. That's it for target market attributes. I will see you in the next video. Cheers for now.